Feel the Ad Love is a podcast produced by Radio Lounge Marketing, featuring conversations with the people in our industry who make advertising and marketing dynamic and fun. Those are the important folks. Radio Lounge is a destination for audio production services for broadcast, film, on-location audio experiences, digital media. We also offer podcast training, production, and distribution through our new podcast studios, which we're there today. It feels good to be here. Voice coaching and the production of high-end voice talent demos. Do a virtual visit anytime at RadioLoungeUSA.com. You know, we're going to have a conversation today with Nicky Mondellini. We know Nicky for a long time. She's actually here in Houston for several years. But she's from so many different places around the world. It's kind of mind-blowing, but it's fun to have you back, Nicky, here. Nicky was born to a British mom, Joan Hammond. That sounds like a stage name, doesn't it? Right. Joan Hammond.
I know, it does, yeah.
But here's the better one. The Italian father, Mario Mondellini.
Yeah.
They moved to Mexico City with their family when her father was transferred by his employer. She has two sisters. That's nice to know as well. Mm-hmm. So really, Nicky, from early childhood, you were introduced to the arts of acting and dancing by your mom, who is a professional choreographer. So that means that's a connection for the ballet. So that got things started here. Mm-hmm. But listen, Nicky has done so many things. She's won the Voice Arts Award for Best Spanish Language Narrator in 2017. She began her acting career at 11 years old in the musical Gypsy and continued her career in telenovelas. I got to say that right.
Yep, telenovelas.
I'll just call them soap operas, okay?
Yep.
With the Mexican network Televisa, Spanish classical theater and movies, and so much more. So, a ballerina. You speak Spanish, English, Italian, French, and German? You really?
I do. I mean, I would say my main languages are the first three. And then afterwards, after high school, I spent a year in Italy trying to get closer to my Italian roots and perfect my Italian accent and, my Italian accent, speaking Italian, I should say. And then I just wanted to learn French and German. So I did that for a year. So those are not like as strong as my other three languages, but I love languages. I would learn a new language every year if I could. It's beautiful.
I'll tell you one thing. I speak English, and that's all I speak. I wish so that I spoke another language. When you grow up north, around the Great Lakes, you learn French. In the Houston market, you learn Spanish, But you've been a little bit of everywhere. Also says you meditate daily. Did you meditate today already? Or are we meditating right now as we speak?
Actually did meditate
You did?
Today early. Yes. I try to do that. It just helps me just like focus for the rest of the day. Just like, it's like reconnecting and just like hitting the reset button in the morning.
That's a great idea. Yeah. That's a great. You have a special place that you meditate, or just anywhere?
I have a couple places depending on what my husband's doing. He also meditates, so we just alternate. And sometimes I do it in my bedroom, sometimes in the living room, and one of my cats will come and sit on my lap for a while, and and I put a little music on. I like to meditate to music. Sometimes I do it silently.
What kind of music do you meditate to?
I find different things on YouTube. One of the nice meditation music videos that I found is Wayne Dyer. And he's also written...
Dr. Wayne Dyer.
Yes, Dr. Wayne Dyer. Yeah. I love his videos and everything that he was about. I mean, I still have to read his books, but I've heard a lot of it and seen a lot of his videos. Yeah. And so one of them is about meditating, and it has beautiful sounds, and it's like in 2 sessions, so you can break it down, and it's 20 minutes, so you don't have to keep looking at the clock, saying, oh, I have to go. No, if you have 20 minutes to spend meditating, that track is 20 minutes long, and it's very subdued. It's kind of like spiritual, angelic voices, but I turn the volume down like a lot, like 3 little lines on my iPad. I don't want it to be like too overpowering, but it just helps me, get into that deep, meditative, relaxed state.
Let's take you back to 8 years old, okay? Just a couple of years ago. Auditioning for the lead role in a dance recital at the studio where you took ballet.
Yep.
What was that like to do that audition for the first time?
I loved it. I know all of my classmates were going to audition, and it was a little bit nerve-wracking because every one of those recitals that we used to do was like a special story, like a special production. And I loved it. I mean, ever since I can remember, I think the first one that I did was when I was 3 or 4 years old. And I loved getting into costume, my mom applying the makeup and hair done and everything and waiting in the wings to go in and all that. So I've always loved that feeling. And so for me, it was a big deal to audition for that lead role in that recital. And then they brought in a coach, an acting coach, because it required, of course, acting and all that. I mean, not speaking, but all the expressions and everything had to be very real and make it it was like really like a major production for a dance recital that was only shown like 2 or 3 times. That's it,
Okay.
But I felt wonderful when they selected me to play that role. Wow. I mean, I really loved it.
That's pretty cool. Let's fast forward just a couple of years after that. Mm-hmm. So how does Who Framed Roger Rabbit fold into a career on Televisa in Mexico City for your character, Maria Mercedes? I think that's a really... Mr. Pimstein, is that the producer of the show?
Yeah.
Yeah,
correct.
so he auditioned you, and you did the audition.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a weird audition, as I recall. And you pushed through that, but then he says, I want you to be Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Jessica Rabbit. So
yeah.
I guess that's who you were, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's actually, let me just do a little clarification. The name of the telenovela was Maria Mercedes, and my character's name was Mistica.
Mistica, okay.
And he just had this idea. He was, as you say, kind of like a very special, weird person in some senses.
Those are some of the best producers, though, don't you think?
I know. I mean, he had a special set idea, and he wanted to create this character from Jessica Rabbit. So he made me watch, he put the video, a couple of scenes when she was walking on stage and doing her song and, moving her shoulders and all the sultry, sexy magnificence of Jessica Rabbit. And he wanted to translate that into the villain, the femme fatale of the telenovela, right?
Mistica,
and so some of my physical appearance helped out because I'm 5'10" and I've been a dancer, so I know how to move my body in special ways, and I was not afraid to go for it. And that audition, as you say, was a bit weird because he made me kiss the guy that I was doing the scene with, and we were in an office and in the middle of the production company there, and that office had glass windows all around, so everybody could see. And there I was, just going at it with this guy. It felt weird, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, I'm remembering my method training. Just go for it. Think about that and everything it entails and how this character can be, So it was fun and weird, but it got me the part.
Back in the day of the television show Dragnet, Joe Friday and his assistant, Harry Morgan, had one outfit. They wore gray suits. They wore gray suits all the time so that they could shoot the scenes out of sequence, and it didn't matter what they looked like. They were always wearing gray suits, white shirts, black ties, right?
Got it.
But your character had one outfit. That must have been fun for wardrobe, huh? I mean, that's a piece of cake.
I would say it was 2 different ones, only because when I was riding the motorcycle, it was a pink pantsuit with pink gloves, pink knee-high boots, pink helmet, pink cell phone, pink motorcycle.
Sure.
And I would have an Afghan dog right in the sidecar. So, almost like pink Batgirl. That's what the producer was going for. So I guess it was a mixture between Pink Batgirl and Jessica Rabbit.
So So in the garage today, where you live, do you have that pink motorcycle still? No. Did you actually ride the motorcycle too?
I did. I did a couple of times, not for the long haul, for going down one of Mexico's main avenues, which is called Reforma. It's a beautiful avenue, flanked by trees and monuments and all that. But no, they had a double, which was a guy. He was wearing a wig, and he got whistles and calls and everything while he was riding down.
But of course he did. Sure.
He was pretty skinny too. But no, the other outfit that you're talking about, which is the one that people mostly know me for in that novela, was a black sequins dress.
Okay.
And the split right to the side of my hip right there. But I was wearing that dress the first time we had a scene for me riding that motorcycle.
That didn't work.
And of course it didn't, because then everything was, out there in the open. So no. couldn't have that. So they said, no, let's design this outfit for the motorcycle. But then they realized, there is a sequence blimp there. I mean, you're out of sequence there because I would say continuity. It went to heck, because we had already done the scenes in the set, inside, like all the interiors. And so it was like, okay, how are we going to justify her being changed? Does she have a little backpack with her, a little bag or something where she just changes her clothes or whatever? And then they thought, you know what? No, that's going to be very difficult to do every single time, when we do the scene when she's riding and then she's going in. No, okay, we're just going to do this. When she steps off the bike, the motorcycle, she's already in her black dress. And people were like, what? What the heck is that? And so people just had to take it.
Sure.
That was it. And so that fact and the fact that she was always wearing the same dress every day, scene after scene, got people talking as well. By the way, the producer loved it. He loved all the controversy surrounding this character, not only because of the way she walked, and because I was always moving my shoulders, always in very sexy poses, right? Not only because of that and the pink dress, and the motorcycle thing, so that it was, people were fascinated, but at the same time, they had a lot of questions. So they wrote them and they, sent the letters, and the producer was reading them. And he showed them to me and he says, look, people are angry because you're wearing the same dress every single day. So what are we going to do about this? And then we discussed it and I said, well, I remember when I was little and I was watching the Flintstones and Wilma had a scene where she was choosing her outfit and all of the outfits in her closet were the same, the exact same. Right. So I said, why don't we do something like that? Let's just have a scene where she's talking to her aunt, because her aunt was always with her, not her mother, but her aunt. She lived with her aunt. And she was, in a scene discussing things. And just like nothing, I'm like discussing things with her. I open the closet on one side and all of the dresses are the same. And I'm like, I don't know. So I go to the other side of the closet, open it up, and then we got like 20 more just the same. And I pick one and sort of put it against me. I'm like, I think I wore this one today.
Yes.
And it's the exact same dress every single day. So it was funny. But
so it was a drama type series, but it was also kind of a comedy, wasn't it?
It was. I'm going to say it's a farce. It's a melodramatic farce. That's what it is. And it's still being shown today. Wow. It's the reruns on Hispanic television. I don't know which of I think it's Channel 50 or wherever. I mean, it might change from state to state, but yes, it's still showing.
So there's a restaurant here in the Sugar Land area. You walk in, it's a Mexican restaurant, a good Mexican restaurant, as a matter of fact, and there's a picture of Nicky, an autographed picture of Nicky hanging on the wall. So you went into the restaurant, they go, I know who you are.
Yeah, they did recognize me. Yeah.
And that happens not only here in the United States, but around the world as well, huh?
It happened to me. Well, it's happened to me in different places in Mexico, but in different places that I've been here. And then on Facebook, I've gotten messages from people in other countries that have seen the novelas there, because it's been dubbed in a lot of different languages: Russian, Portuguese, Polish, Czech. I mean, in Thailand, my sister went there one time, and she was in the middle of this little town up in the hills, and she went to a local market, and so they asked her where she was from, and she said Mexico, and the lady said, "Oh, Mexico, Marimar." Marimar is another one of the novelas that I did.
Okay.
So. Small world. They show them in little towns in Thailand, in the mountains of Thailand.
Holy cow. You had a lot of fun doing that, didn't you?
I did.
Yes.
I did.
So then you come to America, United States, to Houston specifically, and you settle down with your husband, Al, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And now you're doing voiceover work, but you're also doing some coaching as far as acting and such like that. Aren't you doing that too?
I not anymore. I did a few sessions where I just put together some workshops for bilingual actors because I thought it was very important. And this I was discussing with my agent. And then, she said, well, there's a lot of things that people that are in the Hispanic market, they should be aware of, and they need to practice acting in Spanish a lot more. It's one thing to act in English. You do have a few differences. I mean, there's body language, and there's the emphasis, and then just how do you relate to other people, and there's a lot of little nuances that are pertaining to each language, and I noticed it when I came to the States, because I was used to doing everything in Spanish, although I've spoken English since I was a little girl, since I was a baby.
Yeah.
But it's different. I hadn't really done any work in English, and I mean, also the way you relate and the language, about talking about the scripts and for example, I didn't know they were called sides until I moved here, started going to class, and they're like, okay, let me see your sides. And I was, okay, so of course I stand in profile.
Sure.
Till I find out and I'm like, oh, that's what you mean, and then I figure out why they're called sides, because they're written on one side of the script and instead of both sides of the script.
Oh, that's interesting. I thought a side was either green beans and or a fried okra.
There you go. That's another type of side, yes.
Yeah, it is. Okay. So this is fun. So you're here in Houston, and you're very successful in your voice acting. You do a variety of things. And I think the fact that you are very bilingual is a big key to that, because you can do, 5 times as many things as other people can, because you can speak several languages. So you did voice acting in Mexico as well, too. How was that over there? I
didn't do as much as I did here, but for a few months I was the station voice for one of the main stations in Mexico, which was Channel 2. So I would announce, the breakdown of the shows, just the list of the shows that were going to go on every night. I did a couple of commercials and I narrated a couple of industrial videos, but of course I never had my own studio. So I would always go to the studios there that they had in Televisa. To do that,
right.
all that voiceover work. So I wouldn't say that I was really too much into voiceover until I came to the U.S.
We know Nicky, obviously, as a friend of Radio Lounge, but through a PB Talent, Pastor Reedy Bosby Talent. And recently you did something which I want to find out how you feel about this. The Dark Side of the Moon, you were the narrator for that.
Yes.
What was that all about? And obviously that was close to your heart, right?
Yes. So the producer is Fabrizia Faustinella. She's Italian, and she's been living in Houston for a number of years. She's also a doctor. She's a medical doctor.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, she's a wonderful dermatologist. And I met her at the acting classes that we were taking, a few years ago. And she's just an amazing person. I mean, so driven and so talented and so enterprising. And so she had this the documentary that she was working on, we had lost touch for a little bit, but then she remembered that I also did voiceover. So she contacted me and she said, look, I have this. Her accent is a lot thicker in Italian, so she wanted a less thick accent, mine is, I wouldn't say absolutely perfectly American, but of course less Italian than hers.
Right.
And,
but your accent is like a rainbow of different accents connected to English.
People
That's okay.
have a hard time placing me and my origins when they first meet me. But so anyway, she sent me the demo reel for that, and I just thought it was amazing because it's about the causes of homelessness. And she specifically went around Houston recording people, just interviewing them, homeless people and social workers and psychologists, and everything geared toward understanding a little bit better what causes a person to become homeless. And it's a number of reasons, but at the highest point of, like, they mentioned the Maslow pyramid, and of course mental health is right there. It's the most important thing.
You would think so, yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Wow.
So I was really honored that she chose me to narrate her documentary, because I think it's a wonderful story that has to be told, and a lot of people, they talk, their testimonials are, they just grab you, and then you understand, my goodness, this person really didn't have much of a choice. I mean, they have been struggling with so much, and you understand why they are the way they are, why they live in that sort of situation. And it makes you become a little bit more compassionate.
Yeah. That's a good place to be. Mental illness, it evolves, it centers around so many things that we have issues with. They're talking about the gun violence and such like that.
Yeah,
rather than placing the blame on the guns, let's place the blame on possibly the mental illness factor.
I would think
and here
so.
in the United States, we really don't address that a lot. There are other countries that do a lot better jobs of taking care of that, addressing and not fixing, but just accommodating and making sure that people are taken care of. So that was really great that you did that. Was getting into the voiceover business an accident or was it on purpose?
Well, the main reason why we moved to the U.S. because of my husband's work, and we wanted to give our kids better opportunities. So for us, it was better to come to Houston. And I, of course, never wanted to stop working. If I don't work, I go crazy. It's just such an important part of me since I was so young that I just have to keep working and working in the arts. And also, well, I am a mother of 3 and I wanted to be there for my kids. So the easiest thing, no, I wouldn't say the easiest, but there was more of an opportunity to work in voiceover. There are a lot of opportunities in Houston because I've done voiceover for the oil and gas industry, for the hotel industry.
Market,
yes, a lot. And medical as well. I've also done on-camera videos for, certain diseases and all that, like bringing attention to certain diseases. But going into voiceover was a little bit because, okay, here's another door that you're going to open into your career. Yeah. And why not? I'm definitely keeping alive everything that I've done with TV and theater and film. That is a very big part of me, and I'm always going to do it. It mellowed down a little bit because of my circumstances of wanting to be near my kids and being here and how it was best for the family. So it was a slight detour, but I wouldn't say... some people in Mexico think that I have retired because they don't see me on TV anymore. Sure. But it's not that. I've just taken another step. I've broadened my horizons, and voiceover is such an important part of my life right now. And I've discovered so many beautiful things that I can do in voiceover, but I discovered the voiceover community as well, which is amazing. People are so giving and so generous, and everybody is quick to give you a tip and guide you and give you a lot of advice on what you should do and what could be good for you. And every single day, there's just a wealth of information for someone to start a voiceover career the right way. There's also the wrong way, but if you go and tap into the community, then you can be guided into the things to do that will help you succeed in voiceover and see all the different genres that there are. I had no idea. Yeah. It's amazing.
It sure is fun to talk to someone who is so excited and so passionate about this business. Let's go back to the acting side for just a moment.
Sure.
What is a better fit for you, stage or television?
I love both. I can't say which one I prefer or what would be a fit. I would say I've done more in television than I have in theater. I don't know. That's just the way things were going. Opportunities were opening themselves up more for me in television. And I did some modeling as well, right before I started acting. And as a matter of fact, that helped pay for my acting career, while I was doing modeling. And I did some, photography. I was in a few magazine covers. I did some catwalk, some fashion shows. I also enjoyed that. But a lot of those opportunities started to open themselves up in television. I loved them. I really enjoyed them. Yeah.
Both have benefits, is what you're saying.
Yes, for sure. The thing I love about theater is that you have that wonderful feedback with the audience and right there. Mm-hmm. And the audience can be so different from one night to the next. It's almost like you're doing a different show because of the audience's reaction. And some people can laugh in a different place than what you're used to, than that, okay, the play is written in a certain way. So, you're saying something funny. So you expect people are going to laugh in this place or that other place. But then suddenly you get an audience that maybe doesn't laugh at all and then at the end you have a standing ovation. Or the other side of the coin, you get laughs even when you don't expect them. So those laughs, like I did a comedy, contemporary comedy called Las Gallinas Matemáticas, which is roughly translated into the mathematical chickens.
Sure.
And it was just a dialogue, and there was a third character coming in and out. But it was a very funny show. And we had people laughing just where I never expected a laugh there. So
does that throw you off then at that point in time?
A tiny
in
bit,
the
but no,
zone?
you know what? It just kept feeding me.
Good.
It just filled me up with energy to keep going. And then you end up doing your character and finding more ways into, I never thought about that being funny, but what if it is? And now I do this and that, so it sort of guides you and makes you discover other things about your character that you probably hadn't thought of.
Wow. What don't we know about Nicky Mondellini? What's something that somebody doesn't know about?
That's something that I have a secret wish that I wish if I were to do something different, I would be a writer. I've written a few things that I've never shown anybody. I wrote a book, like it was I would say a book. I mean, it's a story, but it was a complete story. The year I spent in Italy, I guess I was a bit lonely at the time. I mean, my sisters weren't with me. I didn't have any of my friends. I made new friends, and it was wonderful, right? But I spent a lot of time by myself. So I read a lot, and I started writing a lot. I had a diary that I wrote every single day of my experiences. It was a journal. And so I did a lot of writing in that sense, and then I did this story. So I want to translate some of that into a short film, or maybe doing something later on as a feature film. But I have several ideas that I keep writing down in different places, and I started writing a few novels, like getting some ideas and getting to a certain aspect and doing a little bit of research, and then not finishing it because I had work, because I had kids, because of other things that yeah, I mean that's another aspect that I love. I love writing, and one of these days I'm going to take like a proper screenwriting course and then just do it the right way and just get it done.
Don't wait too long. Go ahead and do that sooner or later, won't you?
Yeah.
What's really cool about Nicky? Nicky has 5 rules for success, okay? And I'll mention them. We'll just talk briefly. We don't have to go into depth on all of them.
Okay.
You get smart about business. Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Learn about marketing. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Be nice. Oh, yeah. Yes. Keep your ego in check. That's one way I'm saying it.
Oh, yeah.
And ask questions. And this relates to actually being on set or being a part of stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, for
sure.
So
these are good rules, Nicky. And obviously you live by those things, right?
Yeah, and it's things that I've learned. I mean, you make mistakes and you learn from your mistakes. So I try to keep my things in check. You have to keep an open mind. You have to know that even though you've had successes, it's never like, oh, I made it. I never think like, okay, I made it. No, I'm advancing in what I like to do, but there's a lot that I have to learn from other people, from my experiences, and from the people that watch. What does the audience want? What do they need? What do they relate to? And the audience deserves a good story. They deserve good acting. They deserve the best. So whatever I can do as part of a team to produce that for people to see and enjoy, and maybe think about things that they could incorporate in their own lives, or situations that might help them figure out something they're going through in their own lives. I love that. I love being able to help people in that way. And at the same time, of course, I enjoy the arts, and I enjoy being, stepping into a character and giving it my best and becoming a part of a beautiful story.
So there you have Nicky Mondellini, curious, inspired, motivated, full of positivity, full of energy, but quiet because she meditates and all that kind of stuff, and very successful in what you do. And there are just some folks that are out there, they can do anything. You can go out tomorrow and become a greeter at Walmart, and you'd become the best greeter at Walmart. I think it doesn't really matter where you're at. You generate that. This is fun to get to know you better, and for other folks to get to know you better as well. And thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here in your podcast. And of course, Ray and Bruce are just amazing, and they've helped me so much. I need to say that you guys have been amazing with me. I mean, you've helped me. You've given me tips. You've given me guidance, and I love collaborating with you because I think every time we work together, we create something very special.
I love surrounding myself with people who are successful and do great things because we do feed off that, and it's just you said we feed off each other's energy and everything. So that's great. So, Nicky, thanks again. Hey, thanks for listening to Feel the Ad Love. Visit us at RadioLoungeUSA.com if you want to find out more about what we do every day. Subscribe to our podcast in iTunes, Spotify, and Google Podcast via RSS so you never miss a new podcast. And your rating on iTunes is going to help us grow too. We certainly would appreciate that. And don't be afraid to share what you've heard today on social media. So until next time, come to the lounge and feel the ad love. Copyright 2019.